Hello and welcome to the Blue House Bull Session, coming at you on this Wednesday, the 16th of October, right? Yeah, that's how this works. I am Jay Artis, as always, joined by my dear friend and co-host, Uber Fuzzy. Thank you for being here today. Man, oh man, I was randomly trying to pick a title for today because I didn't put a whole lot of thought into the theme. I have been bad at using our organizational document for that. And I put fall messing because I was thinking to myself, we have spring cleaning. What would be the opposite of that? In the fall, you make some sort of mess? You start something new. You get messy.
So, I know this entirely as an anecdote, okay? This is entirely just some bullshit somebody told me one time, but I don't know how many levels of old wives' tales it's from. The spring cleaning is the matching pattern from the winter hoarding. When you get all your supplies and fill up the cellar and get your supplies and all the stuff, but as winter happens, you consume those supplies, but it's wintering outside, so you can't really get rid of the trash. You just have package it, the crates from the jars of food that you ate and stuff. The spring cleaning is cleaning out the cellar of all the empties, basically.
Fair. If fall would be the harvest time when you prepare for all of that then, which makes sense. And then winter is accumulating garbage from depleting supplies, and spring is... Okay. What the hell do you do all summer then? Go outside. Never mind. That's
Drink.
A silly question.
Work, then drink.
Yeah, fair. Cannot argue with that. I don't know. Fall's kind of a strange time in general, too. Fall, for me at least, is a time of new projects. It's always a time of new projects. I always start something, everyone's going back to school, everything's ramping up, got to get ready for Christmas, got to get ready for the holidays, got to do. You just got to do. You got to make. You got to create in the fall.
You got to zig a ah.
Yes. If you wanna be. I don't know, man. The weather definitely went fall all at once. Over the course of the past week, it just light switched. We were talking about a tradition they used to have at my workplace, closely associated with one of my former coworkers there, who had his own holiday. We talked a little bit about this Monday, called Flannel Day, and it is the second consecutive day after September 1st, where the daily high doesn't break 70 degrees. And you celebrate by breaking out your favorite cozy flannel to wear and by making cookies. Traditionally chocolate chip, but your mileage may vary. And the thought floated through my head because it had been a while since I'd actually observed and celebrated Flannel Day. I didn't have someone coming into the office to bring cookies or anything. And I couldn't remember the specific rule conditions. I had to, throw them a message and be like, hey, I don't remember when this is, but it is associated with you. It floated through my mind. And the number of people who jumped back in and were like, oh my God, I was just thinking about this too. I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad I said something. Fantastic. And we did go back and check. And for the greater Cleveland area, it averaged on October 4th. So belatedly, we are celebrating Flannel Day.
I was gonna say, did you write the code to do it, or did you just manually check?
We manually checked this time around, but we did also. You and I have a conversation that was a great way to evaluate someone's tech chops. Is if you were going to check for this in an automated way, how would you do it? Don't. Yeah. Write the code right now. I'm not asking you to stand up and write code on a whiteboard because that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I say that as someone who does technical interviews. But talk me through the process. If you were explaining how you would do this to an intern, they're sitting over your shoulder, think out loud and describe to me what you're going to need, how you're going to check it, where you see problems coming up, what you think you need to bulletproof, where you would say, I don't think that's worth the extra effort here. It's not going to gain us any benefit. Which, of course, did kind of kick it off in my head. And I haven't started it because I'm working on 100 million other projects, but I'm going to write something that tells you when Flannel Day is. And I'm kind of thinking like I almost want to go searching, but I don't want to go searching at the same time. There are things that I don't know if they exist, and I'd prefer to make mine before I look to see if there's another one. But based on things like that, could you imagine a site for setting and calculating your own holidays? You can pick a fixed date. You can pick a relative celestial event, weather event, something like that. Like, you could plug in all the things that calculate Easter and make your own Easter, or you could build a calculation similar to that. The nth X after the zth Y, Because it is. Easter's like the full moon after Passover, which is like it's yeah. I don't remember its exact calculation either, but it's the kind of thing that you could, through publicly available sources of data, calculate and get the date every year. And if you want to make your own holiday, you could pick that kind of calculation for it, make your chain of logic, and here's when your holiday is celebrated.
I think it's the first full lunar cycle, not just the next, but like there has to be one complete lunar cycle after.
And that's why sometimes it falls so late.
Yeah, but that's also why sometimes it falls so. Okay. Schools do spring break usually the week of Easter, so because usually they get Good Friday. They usually had to give like Good Friday or something. Like, well, we'll just fold that in and we'll do spring break that week. But the problem is that's a very much moving holiday, and that can be super early. I think there's 2 of the 11 calendars that it's like beginning of March.
Yeah.
And then there's one that it's like at the end of, like, there's 2 very much, usually it's kind of in the middle, but there's twice it happens it's super early and one that it's super late. And I know schools were like freaking out because they're like, we can't like use that as a divide, like, okay, end of the semester and then the next one starts, like, because it's just so variable.
Yeah. That's wild, man. Trying to schedule around that can be an absolute nightmare for sure.
Yeah.
Candy's good though. We are coming up on another candy holiday too. Did you go buy your candy yet? Are you going to pass out candy? Wait, I don't know what's going on. We should figure out what's going on. I have plans.
I was going to say, you have plans. You're doing a thing.
Yeah.
I may pass out candy. I may not.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
The old joke that, like, the candy you pass out as an adult is your payment for all the free candy you got when you were a kid.
Oh, I very much have repaid that debt.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
The first year we moved in here, like, we kind of went all out, because homeowner, we can pass out candy, and it was also like we had not yet had the child. The child was still in progress. So we're like, well, it's the first year the last year we won't have a small child to take out and do things. And for the first 2 years, you can't really take them out trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
And after that, like, you're busy, you don't get to hand out candy. You have to take the child to go get the candy. So it's like, let's go do something.
Yeah.
So we let's stay here. Let's go all out. Let's decorate. Let's pass out candy. We did the thing in full-size candy bars, get all the good candy. And she never lived on a street where there was foot traffic.
Yeah.
Because she essentially grew up in Southwest states and then also Southeast states.
Where the nearest neighbor was a 20-minute walk, yeah.
Well, no, in a neighborhood, but like it wasn't an area people trick-or-treated. because it was like a weird hill and a diagonal and just not a great neighborhood, so people didn't really trick or treat there.
I feel you.
They went other places. It's more flat, And so she's like, I don't know how much foot traffic is going to be here, and I'm like, I can find out because there's apps for that. You could
That's something I'd never considered either.
There's a function on the horrible website called Nextdoor. You can mark your house. They have a candy tracker on there. You can like, yes, I'm giving out candy, and you can build like a map. So you could like, hey, there's a good route over here. Let's go over. So if like there's like 2 people that report on, depending on how many people are even on that app. Which surprisingly, a lot of my neighbors actually already were, which was kind of frightening. Fun story. That's actually how I met my neighbor. Like he had, like, hi, my name's blah blah blah, and I entirely forgot. I knew him, I just entirely forgot his name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, what is his name? I don't know how to contact him. His Christmas lights had like fallen over or broken or something, and I had like no way to contact him. And I didn't want to like knock on his door, even though I live next to him. Be like, hey, I noticed your lights were broken. Like that social anxiety didn't work. So I reverse stalked him on Nextdoor to find out his name, to go find him on Facebook, to message him and say, hey, I had no other good way to contact you. Oh no, I sent him a message on Nextdoor first and like, hey, just let you know, I saw your lights had fallen over or broken or something. Whatever it was, like, oh hey, thanks. And then like, yeah, I had sorry to message you on here. I didn't know how else to contact you. He's like, oh, just friend me on Facebook. Like, you idiot, like I'm next door, but
Yeah.
And it was like how I met my neighbor after like a year. It was that.
I get that though. We have had a record of odd neighbors here more than anything else. Not terrible neighbors, but our relationship with our neighbors here has always been uneasy at best,
Well, I mean, the drunken orgies and
Yeah, but I mean those ended eventually and they didn't start until at least one of us was of age cuz supplies, Point is,
fireballs in the backyard. And...
Yeah, I suppose you got a point there. Those are pretty fantastic, though. They are impressive. Good old sparkler bomb days. Oh man, I got a care package right back here. I'm not sure who sent me additional Girl Scout goodies, although I have my suspicions and want to say thank you to that person, who I'm pretty sure I know who you are. I'm going to message you and confirm. But I got a package of Girl Scout goodies. Unexpected, one that I didn't order, and I'm very happy about it. I see that confused look. I'll clue you in.
No, I'm trying to remember. You said like you were gonna order, and then like you had given me an order. I think. Did you?
I didn't give you one. I put in an online order.
Okay, but somebody said like they were gonna order, and then they weren't sure, so they ordered again just in case. So I'm like, was the secret person you? Did you order another batch, and then forgot, and then got another batch?
This is not me because of what I got. It's not what I would have ordered. It's all stuff I dig, but it's not stuff that I would have ordered. But the package was addressed to Jason the artist, so oops, I doxed myself. Y'all know that anyway. But that "the" in the middle gives me a pretty solid idea of who it was. So I need to thank this person very profusely. Because I don't know how long any of this is going to last. It is good stuff. I got chocolate-covered raisins. I got Cajun crunchy something or other. I got the caramel chocolate thingies. And I got bag. What's in the bag? Cheddar something? Cheddar crunch mix? I don't know. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Absolutely. 100%. Speaking of eating things... I made HelloFresh last night.
Oh, Oh.
friend of the show, Jiggy, has been doing his partnership with HelloFresh, and I'm a sucker for trying to help out my friends, so I decided I would give it a shot. And definitely not sponsored. I mean, unless hit me up. I don't know, whatever. Point is, I made the shepherd's pie last night, and I got to tell you, I screwed it up. I screwed it up. I made the mashed potatoes a little bit too thick, and they didn't spread really well. And when it said a small dash of oil for something, I accidentally used a large dash, so it came out really greasy. And I put too much salt and stuff, so it was a little salty. I did so many things wrong based on the HelloFresh recipe, and it still came out really good. They put so much effort into idiot-proofing their recipes. No matter how idiot I got, I couldn't make it bad. There are things I would and will do differently when I do it next time that will make it even better, but it still came out good. It did not look good, but that's on me.
Accepted?
Yeah, pretty much. I think tonight I'm gonna try the sweet and smoky pork chops, and take my lessons from yesterday and follow the recipe a little bit closer and don't go crazy and be less generous with my salting of things. I think that'll help some. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Neat.
It was either that or noodles again. And as much as I could eat bricks of ramen every single day and have for quite a while, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best choice for me or not.
Probably not, but
yeah. Over here complaining about food being too salty and just like eating the seasoning packet straight out of ramen bricks. I don't know. I'm sure there's a better way to handle all of that.
Sometimes I don't put the flavoring packet in. I'll put other spices. Like I'll just throw a couple dashes of like Old Bay or something in there.
Yeah. No, I get it. I have absolutely made like chicken noodle soup and just added a brick of ramen to it. And then like it's now chicken noodle soup.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. I've never tried it with tomato, but I have done it with chicken noodle pretty frequently. I like it.
It's been cold and I've been fighting off a bug or something. So I've been like, my core has been cold. Like my engine is not stoked. And we had, I had wonton soup for dinner on Monday. And I'm like, oh, that's what I need. Hot liquid inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then yesterday I had some other soup, and today I'm like, I want another. Like I've got these cans of soup, I need to eat them, and it's cold outside. I'm just gonna have a bowl of soup, and it was. Try that. It was the beef noodle. The beef and vegetable with the sirloin coins.
Yeah.
Like, I want more meat in this. I don't have any beef. I was like, oh, I have chicken nuggets. I'll just have some chicken nuggets. I want some more protein.
And that explains your message earlier.
And I'm like, can I just put these in here? I wonder how that would taste. So I threw a couple of them in there, and I'm like, let them soak in. Like, they don't taste bad.
I get this message from him earlier that says, I put chicken nuggets in my beef and veggie stew. It wasn't bad. That's the kind of thing I get pretty regularly from him. And it sounds like really interesting. I will have to try that. Because it sounds good. And it is 100% soup weather. Did you try any of that cup soup miso? The instant miso? The miso cup?
Not yet.
From Noodle Soup Cup Soup Noodle. They're two words that make sense together but don't grammatically go together. I remember that. Welcome everybody, and a special welcome to Jacob and his lovely wife, and they had
The
a
newest
baby.
developer?
They had a baby. I say they. I don't know how involved Jacob was in the process. Okay, I'm
Well,
sure he was around for like the planning, maybe
Or
the
not
original
planning, no
design
judgment.
document.
Yes, he contributed to the design document.
I held a leg. There are so many ways that could. I don't. I want to know, but I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask because I can only imagine what I would hear. But big congrats to you. Much love. I hope everything is going well. I hope mom is recovering well. I hope everybody's doing good. We are hella hyped. We are hella hyped on your behalf. Please send all our love and our best to everybody. And if there's anything you guys need, don't hesitate to let us know. Not that we'll be able to do it, but let us know anyway. No, we're very excited. He's officially on parental leave from Hercule. until further notice. Until he gets a chance to do a thing.
What is our natal leave plan?
Considering our org docs say internally that this is a part-time thing for all of us, contribute what you're comfortable doing, it's take it. If you have a baby, go do that thing. You do not have to give us 80 hours a week. You know. There are some things that we might need to formalize a little bit more eventually, but as long as we're a small enough group, the standing agreement is, do what you wanna. If anybody has a problem with it, there's only 4 of us. We'll talk to each other. And ain't the day job for none of us yet, so that gives us a lot more leeway too. We're working on it. We'll get there eventually. Sooner or later, it'll be the full-time paying gig for all of us and all of our friends, too. We'll just be some huge conglomerate. I can hope, right? One of these days. One of these days. We do need to talk and kind of formalize what... One of these days, we'll have to formalize and figure out what our next big project is going to be and what our next small project is going to be. I like the idea you pitched once of having a big project and a small project. And a big project lasts approximately 4 small projects or something like that, but just a couple irons in the fire at a time. More time spent hurgling since you already have leave from the day. Yeah, I mean, as true as that is, there are people that you should be taking care of, too. We will happily accept your...
I will tell you this. This is a mistake I made, and there's no way to know this on your... I assume it's your first kid, right? No? I don't...
Yeah.
This is a mistake I made, and I'll tell this to anybody. You potentially should not have taken all of your leave up front. The first couple weeks, basically, other than, don't take time off, but work from home. Because other than hey, can you go get me a thing? Be available, do offline work, take a meeting vacation. You can be productive, just not during the hour, flex time or something. Because the first 8 weeks, that child is going to be eating or sleeping, and neither of which you are involved in that process. What you need time off, when they start not sleeping, so you can take the night shifts or something, or go do errands during the day, or help rock, or fill bottles, or whatever. The 3 to 4 months out is when you need to take full day off.
Interesting. I'd never really thought about that, but you do raise a valid point with it, because like they're not yet a baby when they're first born. I mean, in the sense that like people think of a baby is babies cry, babies play, babies crawl, whatever. They're not a baby. They're still baking, just like a loaf of bread.
They're a cute poop factory.
You pull a loaf of bread out of the oven and then you don't touch it for an hour. You don't immediately cut into it. You also shouldn't immediately cut into a baby, but that's beside the point.
Yes, be there for your wife, but she's going to be doing, yes, she's doing all the heavy lifting, but there's not a lot you can really do in the first time that you're going to need that time later.
Yeah, but the way they offer leave usually in these situations, yeah,
That's the thing. Like if I had my druthers, what I would have done is, obviously ours was more scheduled, but I would have taken like 2 weeks immediately post birth, because yeah, you want to be there like immediately up front. First, I can't walk. Can you hold the baby while I take 10 minutes to walk the 20 feet to the bathroom? But other than that, the first 8 weeks, there isn't anything for you to do. You need the full-time off later.
What I keep envisioning going on is like every bad sitcom that you've ever seen, where like one character gets injured or sick and they give them the bell, and then they run the other character absolutely ragged, ringing the bell for every dumb thing.
Yes. Yeah. No. That's a trope for a reason. That's entirely how it was, and I wish I had. I took my large block of time. I took my paternity leave like very early on, because I thought I was going to need to be there a lot more. And it wasn't her first kid. She had a rodeo. She had this rodeo kind of down pat. So, she knew what to do. She wasn't in panic mode. She's like, yeah, whatever. That whole joke of like the first child, you're like, oh, so precious, premium cloth diapers, and you're like, third, fourth, you're like, whatever. I know they'll live. I don't need to. I'm that.
They'll shake the dirt off. Yeah.
So, yeah. Nah, you'll do fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're about one of the sweetest people I know too. You're set for this, man. You're set.
Trust your instincts. There's a reason the human race has survived this long. And if you don't know, go look at the internet. Don't always listen to everything they say, but go and, do a quick search. You'll probably find enough you'll find enough. You'll find the quorum of all the crazy people, and you're like, generally, this is what people think.
Yeah.
You can override it, but like, if you don't know, oh goddamn,
check a bunch of sources. Yeah, check a bunch of sources. Figure out the truth based on them. It won't be tough. You know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you know what you're doing in figuring out what you're doing. That's one thing I'll say for tech people is, as a rule, tech people are really good at handling situations where they don't know what they're doing, because we have developed the skills to pick it up really fast and to wade through an entire internet sea of garbage and discern usable information from that.
If they're, keep them fed, keep them clean, and the rest just is a war of attrition. If they're empty, fill it. If they're full, empty it.
Separate trucks.
It. Yeah, no, that's basically early childcare. It's like, put things in one end, wait, take it out the other, repeat a lot.
I do not have any children of my own, but I have one legitimate by blood and 10 nieces and nephews through friends that have become family to us. So I have also changed many a diaper and babysat many a kid and all of that because everybody loves Uncle Jay. And I don't think I've broken any of them. Little kids are basically made out of rubber, for one thing.
Yeah.
They bounce. They're fine. They're resilient.
The biggest thing about like the you need the time later, right now when they're real little, when you put them somewhere, they stay there.
That's true.
You need the time off to care for them when they start moving. Because once they start moving, you can't passively watch them. You actively have to put them in a pen in your line of sight, and even then, don't blink.
Yeah.
When they're like a mobile, just cooing thing, you put them in that spot, and they will stay there. They are a stuffed animal that poops. That's it. You live there, and they go, bah, 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 and that's it. That's all they do.
How'd that go again? That's like, never mind. We're having a good positive talk here. I'm not going to say anything about like the baby from Eraserhead. This is not the time or place for that. But yeah. Very excite. Kind of nerve-wracking, I understand that, but it's good stuff. So speaking of side projects and fall being crazy busy, I don't think we can talk about any of them yet, and that makes me furious. But there was another one announced relatively recently that as soon as it is public knowledge, I will make sure to talk about here. And it will also be up in my sponsor rotator up there. Not sponsor, but my support rotator. I have it named the sponsor box despite the fact that nobody is actually sponsoring it. None of this is paid. These are just things that I want to tell people about. Go play my games, go support my friends. But soon there will be new slides there. Because soon I will be able to talk about some of the 10 million events that have been going on. We had one recently over this past weekend, was Disaster Relief Done Quickly, a partnership between GDQ and Direct Relief. And Campy had alluded to that a little bit last week. But on extremely short notice, they put together a weekend charity marathon in support of victims of the recent hurricanes and everything. And that was a lot of fun. I wasn't super involved with it, but I definitely watched pretty much all of it as much as I could and threw a couple bucks in the hat and cheered on all my friends that were running and hosting and commentating and all of that whatnot. It was really nice. Ended up raising $45,000 over the weekend, which was not bad at all. Going to Direct Relief, who is great for getting medical stuff on the ground and mobilized like in a hurry. They have medical licenses. They have doctors on staff. So they could get the help out to the people who needed it in a time of crisis that had really beat on a lot of people that we care about. So kudos to them. I'm really thrilled for that. They had someone do a speed run of Echoes of Wisdom, which I tuned into and paid zero attention to because for all the people I've watched play the new Zelda game, I haven't watched any of them, really. I put them on, I listen, I participate in chat, but I've been like compartmentalizing it. I am here for your stream, I am not here for the game. I want to hang out and see what's going on, but I want to experience the game for myself. Mm-hmm. And it's tough. Because Zelda's one of those franchises, and this is something I kind of want to talk to Jiggy about too, where Zelda is one of those franchises that's popular enough that people want to watch. And when a new one comes out, they don't because it's new. And yes, we all want to hang out and watch you play Zelda, but we need a little bit of time to experience it for ourselves. And that's a real struggle, especially in plot-driven adventure games, especially the big name franchise ones like Zelda, you know. It is an iconic franchise, an iconic piece of IP that everyone wants to see for themselves. And I'm not like jumping up and down and yelling, no spoilers, no spoilers. But some of the game I want left to my experience. Some of it I want to be able to play myself. You know? Go find something new. Go find the Star Wars game. I'm interested in the Star Wars universe, but I would not call myself a Star Wars fan. Go play that on launch day. I'll watch that. I'm interested, but not enough that I care to play it for myself. I don't feel there's a piece of experience that I would be missing by watching someone play through that. Plus, it's got that cool little, like, dog pet lizard thing, which is a neat addition. There's a lot of neat mechanics in the Star Wars game. I wish I remembered what it was called. I should know this. Rogue Bounty Planet Horizons Battlefield Front. What the heck was the new Star Wars game? To the Googles, new Star Wars game. Outlaws. Right?
If the technical problems, if the technical problems weren't the people I saw complaining about the technical stuff, the way they described stuff, it was on their end. Playing it on a janky computer or something just too old where it'll play, but like the developers assumed everybody's going to have a graphics chip with SSX 2E because that's been the standard for 10 years and they happen to have an 11-year-old card which is like that's just slightly too old. It doesn't have that, but they didn't like safety check that because they like fuck it, everybody's got that thing now, you know.
Everyone's got an NVIDIA card.
No, it's not even that. It's like, oh, we don't have to put a safety check if you have MPEG decoding available.
Baked in, yeah.
Yes, you do. You know? And it's bugs like that, which they patch, but like, oh, let's not assume you have that shader. Let's do a probe and do something else. Because it was very, very specific things. Or like they were trying to... Somebody was trying to run it on their laptop, which was one of the Intel-based Chromebooks that you could run like Windows stuff on.
Yeah.
They had it dual booted. That had 6.5 gig of available RAM.
Which is less than the 8 it requires or whatever.
No, that's because they're 1.5. It had an 8 gig of RAM in it, but 1.5 was dedicated to the video card. And then they had 6.5 for system memory.
Yeah. Big old hairy AAA titles need a little bit more resource than that. They shouldn't. Well, okay, shouldn't is debatable, but they shouldn't.
No, they should. Because it is a 3D engine game that's designed to look, it's a 3D environment you walk around and do stuff with. It's not just, oh, hey, I need, it's an RPG and I need it for, to render my menus. It's like, no, it's a 3D environment with a million interactable objects that are moving around. Yes, you need memory to do these things. That's how the things are.
But that means by default, it's not going to play on your glorified word processor / web browser really well.
It's not in here.
It's not in there.
I don't have that document.
You don't have that document. That's no good.
There's a exhibit that's not in the packet that I have.
Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know, man. I can fathom making a game of that scale, but at the same time I can't. But then again, we are not a AAA studio by any stretch of the imagination.
There's a reason games like that take forever
Yeah.
to make. And even with a large studio with, you know, not just one guy doing graphics, it's a whole team of many artists. Like, look at the fleet of stuff that makes an MMO. And granted, that's a whole different, larger scale, but that's just scaled up.
Yeah.
That's more content, but that's like a breadth for depth thing. But any AAA studio and stuff, it takes a long time, even if you have a bunch of people, because there's just that much to do. And they're working on it 12-hour days, 6, 7 days a week for 6 years
Yeah.
because it takes that much work. There's just that much to do in it to make a game like that. And that's if you go into it knowing what you want.
And that is so tough to do. Way more than you think it is. It really is. I don't
And
know
you
that.
and now
Yeah.
you see from trying to make a game design document for a simple, relatively simple, not flash based, but
Yeah.
web based, basically 2D game, even just defining all that, what you want it to do, like how much stuff has radically changed in Let's Cafe
Yeah.
that we just like rewrote entirely. There weren't the customers were just things that
Yeah.
were just a conveyor for an order to come in. And then it evolved to what if they had, and then NPCs. And then and then I said, hey, what if we added a pool of random, hey, how's there? Or hey, thanks for that, enter an exit text just to liven it up. Then that evolved. And then NPCs had kids. So now we have to have a way to render multiple sprites to come like if we did not have that plan at the beginning,
Nope.
that code has been rewritten a dozen times to accommodate these things. If we had the full design document for Let's Cafe now, and you started with that, how much quicker could we make that game from scratch if you had the plan of the full design?
See, that's an interesting question because even if we had it to this level of detail, I feel like what we would end up with just from the process of building it would still be something different. Maybe not as different as between what we started with and what we have now.
Well, I'm just saying, like, not not time wasted, but how much time did we waste rewriting and rewriting because the goal wasn't locked
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
It was being in an Uber, and the customer keeps changing the destination. When you're 80% there, they change the destination. Like, okay, we'll go over like, I guess we're doing this now. Pivot and make it a gotcha game.
I get that I am probably, I'll just come right out and say it, wrong in feeling this way because this is not a business friendly way to think about it. And that's where I hit a lot of drop deads. But that journey is one of the things I enjoy most about the process. Like, I appreciate having a good design document. I appreciate having one that's got a lot of these things specced out up front. I understand the importance of it, especially from the business standpoint. But I like seeing what an idea turns into as you start creating it. I really enjoy that. And that's another issue that we kind of go back and forth on because I can enjoy that, but it's very tough for us to enjoy that because we're all going to wander in slightly different directions if we're wandering. If we're all pointed in the same direction, we can get there faster and more effectively. But if we're all just kind of wandering and pulling in different directions, where we're going to end up is a very different place. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been trying to get a better grasp on those decisions early, bottom line up front design of things like that. Document everything so that people know what's going on.
It's also a matter of division of labor.
Right.
If you, as one person, you can work in that way, because if you make a decision, you don't have to explain it to somebody like, oh, I want to try this, and then you just start doing it. You don't have to say, hey, I have an idea, here's my pitch for it. You know, you don't have to open a pull request. You just start writing code,
Yeah.
and then it is now in the code. You know, like, I just do this and then it is a thing, versus having to make a pitch before you even do the code.
Yeah.
You know, and if like you get busy with something else, nobody can pick it up because it exists in your head. They're
Right.
still trying to break you up because you are bad at that.
Yes.
And we don't know where you were going. Even if we did have your code, you did push your half uncompleted but not pull requested branch up before, you know, you had to disappear. We don't know what to do with it because you were in the middle of doing something.
Yeah. It's also the hassle of net new projects just in general as well. I mean, it is a me problem, but it is also a problem of greenfield code. Also, welcome, Taylor. You're right. Yes. That is the problem. Writ large, that is the problem. Oh, man. But, yeah. We now have a much clearer concept of that stuff written out, although a lot of it was done ex post facto. And as we come up with ideas, we're documenting them as best we can. Next project's going to be documented better. And the one after that will be documented even better than that. The plans will continue to increase in quality and arrive earlier and earlier in the projects. We will continue to learn those things. We will continue to learn those things. By the way, I want to give a shout out here to our good friend Taylor. Let me see if I can spell this right. There we go. Who has just gotten into streaming recently, and I have been trying very much to support the design streams and things like that. We probably have something collab coming up soon. I have to double check when that's going to be, but I'm definitely into it. Make sure you're following. Keep an eye out. Come hang out with us. Come see one of my dearest and most treasured friends doing her thing. Being an amazing artist. You are an amazing artist. You know that? I'll have to drop some of the 3D renders from the stuff from Can Do and everything.
Miss, I don't know Blender. I'm not good at this. Proceeds to from scratch create an animated 3D rendered gold shaded spitting. I was gonna say trapezoid, you know, Triforce out of nothing, and then just like it's like just oh look, it's a Triforce and beveled edges, and I'm just like, you don't get to say I'm not good at this.
Yeah, when you say I don't know what I'm doing yet, the thing is you're doing it anyway, and we can't tell the difference. Remember, even though you're streaming the process, that's not what people see. What people see is the product, and the product comes out looking amazing. What you make is fantastic, and if you feel like you don't know what you're doing when you're making it, well, too bad. That's not what anyone's there. I mean, we're there to watch it on stream, but that's not what anyone's. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. I don't even know what I'm trying to say half the time. It's like that with dev streams. When we're sitting there in front of Visual Studio Code and typing, we're confused the entire time. The level of confusion changes, but no matter how much expertise and practice we have, we're confused. The whole time we're writing code, we're doing something that hasn't been done yet. Maybe something similar has been done somewhere, you know, but we're making a thing that is net new to us, except for very rare occasions where we're copying and pasting and changing things. Point is, the process isn't what people take with them. Yeah. You get faster with practice, your breadth of knowledge gets a little bit better, but if you are growing as an artist or creator in any way, if you are growing, it's because you live out on the edge of what you know. Do something a little tougher than you know how to do at all times. It doesn't have to be hugely tougher, but just do something you don't know how to do every time you're doing something new. Keep at it. Keep practicing. Keep working at it is the way to do it. Make Fart Hotel after Fart Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually you'll hit your Five Nights at Freddy's franchise.
Speaking of which,
Uh-oh.
I have something to send you.
Something to send me?
Oh, why is that?
I am excited. Every time I get something from Fuzzy, I am excited. Sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's not. But it is always interesting and enticing news. I will say that.
Save as PDF. Why is it 45 pages? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it does come to sticking to it. And the thing that's helped me the most is find something you care about. Make something you want to use. There are a ton of tutorials out there, a ton of tutorials that show you how to make something that is functional, that shows off the features of whatever thing you're trying to learn that you absolutely do not care about at all. The AngularJS tutorial for a very long time was Hall of Heroes, and it was like a front end to a data model in the back end of Marvel superheroes. And I think I'm the only person on the planet that doesn't really care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all of that. And I could see potential for making things that would serve my interests, something that I could care about. I could not force myself through the Hall of Heroes tutorial because I didn't care. I didn't care. And I'm not saying it has to be something you're super passionate about, but you're going to stick with it more if it's something you care about in any way. That's the big secret to practicing programming, is use it to do something for yourself, something you find interesting. It doesn't have to be super useful, just something that you like at all in any way, any small amount of interest, you know? Jackson working on the bot for Twitch and Discord. Like, he's branched out into a ton of things, but you notice a lot of it is like, he'll say to himself, I wonder if I could make it do this thing. He's now invested in making it work because there's a feature that doesn't exist in his thing that he wants to add, and he'll go find out. He's absolutely been killing it, and it's been downright impressive to see. You know, that's why I stand behind and beside him all the way with it, is I want to see what he's going to make with all of this. Yes.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. That is perfect. Bless you, sir. Do you have a thing in the code base that makes that?
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. Can I describe this? I'm not going to share it.
Show it. No, you can go and show it.
So I'd mentioned before that as we add new recipes to the game, I wanted to be able to, for Let's Cafe. Let me make sure I'm blah 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 blah. I wanted some way to dump information out about the recipes such that you would be able to go through and see what they looked like by default. So we could go through and see, would they look right in the address book? And can we get a list of which ones have which ingredients and all of that? I just want to, I want to look at everything. In theory, one of the things we had been talking about is some of these recipes we actually want to put in like a little fan cookbook thing that is also an art book, but like add some actual recipes as well. And Fuzzy now has a tool that just spits everything out in one file where I can go through and look all at once, see all the ingredients, see all the recipes in the shape they take by default in the game, so I can just go through and vet them.
So all these are stored in a massive JSON file, and we have an editor for it, and it's like a whole interactive drag and drop built. Like we build it, we don't like code it by hand, but you load one recipe at a time. And we were wondering, like, there wasn't a good way to like search through it, or somebody asked. I think it was Cass that was streaming and was like, "What is no? Was it Cass or Lana? One of them was like, I can't figure out the thing, like the chicken and waffles, and it was the hot sauce, and we like, well, I can load up the editor or go look at the thing and then go look at shape, like, but we didn't have a good way to just look at
All
all
of
of the
them.
recipe.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have this, but like the whole project is data driven, so it's like this array and that array and that array, and these are codes into this array, and it so it you know it's like fried waffle is a string, but it's two words, but there's a short code for it, but they're just numbers, and it's a recipe of like the data exists, but not in a cohesive human readable way because it has to exist as different data sets that interact.
Yeah.
So
And part of this is in response to Jacob, who we yelled at earlier. Has had a habit recently, and I appreciate and approve of this. I want to make it clear that I appreciate and approve of this. But he's had a habit of being like, I got bored and went and added 60 pastries. I made a whole ton of desserts. The change set that we see in our private GitHub is those data files. I see strings of numbers. I see arrays of strings of numbers. I can't look at it and visually see what does this recipe look like in the game. And trying to proofread the numbers like that got challenging. And because of that, we ended up with a couple situations where it'd be like a hot dog bun in the bottom center and the hot dog above it, but over one. So it's like diagonally. And they're off. And that's tough to catch when it's numbers in a list. But when I'm looking at a recipe sheet, I can say, oh, that hot dog's diagonal. What the heck?
yeah, and like I said, the editor, you have to check every single one, and obviously, if we're checking it, eh, you know,
I'm going to miss
how
one.
do
I'm
you
going to scroll too far.
how do we vet that? Well, we can load this tool and look at the recipe data and be like, oh, you missed. They look okay. I'm assuming the data driving it behind is okay because otherwise it would work or not. I need to finish writing that tool to like validate this so we don't make the same mistake we had the one time. But
Yeah. Interesting things we run into because I went in and changed things partway through. But I digress.
no, that's a copy and paste problem.
Yeah, I shouldn't be doing that. Well, we're at about the 7 o'clock mark. I think we're going to take a real quick ad break here, bathroom break. We're going to run a couple minutes of ads. Get up, grab yourself something to drink, stretch your legs a little bit. We are going to take 5, and we will be right back. Don't you go anywhere, aside from stretching and getting a drink. See you in just a few. Hello and welcome back to the Blue House Bull Session, coming back at ya. Happy Wednesday to ya. We are back from our ad and bio break here, taking care of the assorted necessities, you know how it goes. I hope you had a chance to get up, stretch for a minute and all of that whatnot. Grab yourself a fresh drink, maybe get some dinner. I don't know. What can you get in 5 minutes? You could take a BK break if you can find a Burger King anywhere.
I think there's one by me.
Burger King sounds good, man. I could go.
I was about to say I haven't had Burger King in
entirely too long. One of the big franchisers in our area went bankrupt a couple years ago and closed down all of their stores, and it was one of the largest franchisees in the area for Burger King. So a lot of Burger Kings closed. And now it is much tougher to find one, which is unfortunate.
Wait, is
Burger King's good.
Yeah, mine's still open. They're open 24 hours?
Yo,
really?
What? Okay,
yeah.
Now that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, they are right off the highway, so.
True. Man, Burger King sounds really, really good. It always sounds really, really, really good, but it sounds really, really good.
Do you like Culver's?
I do.
I am. There's another one. There's one near me, and there's one farther away. And the farther away has been there for a while, but I always see it when I go to the hardware store, and I'm like, I really would like Culver's, except they literally cover everything in butter, and their main thing is an ice cream, and I really can't have either of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really think about it. And then they opened another one close to me, so I'm now between two Culver's, and I hate it because it's like
it's so good if I'm willing to suffer for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm even near two Chipotles, and I never think about getting Chipotle. The one's got a drive-through.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I could only imagine. I'm here for it, though.
You can't order the drive-through. It's a drive-through pickup.
No problem. Cool. I'll order through the app and pick up there.
I would say, who is not ordering their Chipotle in the app anyways?
Yeah, if you're going there to order in person, you're going inside. Just hard stop, and that's because you want to stare at the guy when he puts like two pieces of chicken in your burrito.
The only time I would go in and order is if I'm going to eat there.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
I'm not there for the experience. I'm there for the food. If I can arrange to get my food quicker and get back to someplace comfortable to eat, I'm going to. But Chipotle's so good, man. So good.
Something else I was working on this morning before I decided I was working on something not at the computer with actual paper.
Nice.
And then I came downstairs. I'm like, I should scan this or type this up or something. And I came down here and then I got distracted and then I did something else. I don't know if this will show up.
Ooh.
I'm making actual diagrams and writing what they did, and I color coded the stuff so I could tell. But like, I am actually planning things out for real. I'm working on this goddamn pirate game.
Ooh.
Like, I have designs and document them.
I am into that, and I am hyped for that too.
I don't know how to implement any of this stuff, but I'm pretty sure if I make my 40,000 word essay wish to the genie and cover all my bases, it'll just magically appear.
I think
magically appear. I can punch it all. I can form my paragraphs of sentences and plug it into GPT and have it like, this is exactly what I wanted to do in exactly this way. Do not do these things, and I need it this way. And they're like, yeah, we can write that. Here you go.
You have access to a full team of game developers as well. I mean, I'm just putting that out there. Chat GPT and Copilot are nice, but you have people to drive them.
I can use GPT to scaffold out a lot of the base stuff.
Yeah.
And then we can do the actual implementation of the game logic. But there's a lot of underlying scaffolding and how, like, I know I want it to work this way. I don't know how to make code do that.
Yeah.
I know it is possible. Show me the framework. I'll fill in the details later.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I did some work today around lunchtime on a design document I want to share with you as well that I will send you at some point tonight or tomorrow for one of the other things that we've been just kind of sitting and waiting to do anything on. And I saw your other PR and approved it, and I'm going through and God, I can't wait to talk about some of these projects.
I know.
I'm
I
so
know.
excited. I'm so excited to see this stuff come together too, man. I really am. Um, I shared with you a potential merch design that we're going to be sharing with our partners over at Tantrum.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We're cooking on a couple more as well that I'll send over your way as soon as I prod my favorite artist and be like, hey, we need a thing. I say favorite artist, but every artist is my favorite artist. My favorite already contracted to do work for Let's Cafe artist. How about that? But yeah, new things in the works there. New things in the works there.
Oh,
I have been playing too much Minecraft to nobody's surprise at all. And I know I talk about this every week. But I have um, some plans for some specific Minecraft streaming that I want to do potentially over the weekend. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I just know what I'm going to do whenever I do.
mm-hmm.
I've been out treasure hunting, and I don't just mean buried treasure, but like, okay, I had a full set of netherite armor. I had a full set of netherite gear. I'd been down in the nether collecting ancient debris forever so I could make the fancy extra protective gear. And through a crappy set of circumstances, I died in an ocean monument, the big underwater pyramids guarded by the guardian fish things. And it was far enough away from base, and I no longer had all my gear with all the like breathe better enchantments on it and stuff. So, yes, technically, it can be said it was my own fault. A, that is zero comfort whatsoever to hear. B, it's adding insult to injury. And C, regardless of whose fault it was, because it happened in the game, I'm going to blame it on the game. And I swore revenge on the entire sea. So I am going through and conquering every ocean monument I can. And while I'm out, I'm checking for sunken ships and collecting buried treasure maps. But I haven't been like, get the buried treasure map and go to it and dig up the treasure. I've just been hoarding them. And as I run across some of these things, I've been hoarding the locations. And it's very possible someone will beat me there. That happens sometimes. But I think what would make for a relatively entertaining way of streaming Minecraft is take all this collected knowledge and go out treasure hunting. You know? Not the digging, not the building, not like mine an entire chunk. Here, sit and watch me dig up every rock in a 16 by 16 area. I'm doing that, but that's boring, I assume. I don't think it's boring because I do it every day. Point is, the entertaining stuff is what kind of goodies can we go find? What can we make look like an adventure? And then we'll bring it all back and dump it into the treasure sifter and let it sort out all this stuff. So I'm also probably going to build an automated sorting and sifting system. And I might do that on stream and be like, okay, well, when I go out treasure hunting, these are the kind of things that are, they carry some intrinsic value in game. I'll make a way to track that stuff so you can see it as it comes in and goes out, you know? How many emeralds did I find? How many diamonds did I find? How much gold and silver? All of that. Or gold and iron. Gold and the gray gold, whatever it is, iron. Or
the gray gold.
iron and yellow iron. The metals are so disparate in that game. There's two. There's silver, or there's not silver. That's what I'm trying to say. There are two. There is gold and there is iron.
I thought there was copper.
There is copper. Copper doesn't count. Copper's wood made out of metal. Copper's horse shit. They're starting to add things you can do with it. You need copper to make a brush. If you're going to brush the suspicious gravel and sand by an ancient ruin, if you happen to find an ancient ruin.
It's funny because in modded Minecraft, copper was like the obvious missing thing that was malleable, for like electronics, like Iron Age, you got Stone Age, then wood, then iron. Like, when you get any technology, you basically need copper for like, oh, look, we kind of made electronics. So this mod added copper, and this mod added copper, and this mod added copper. But they were all by different developers that understood the semantics of the way modded Minecraft reconciles items and stuff differently. And there's something called the OR dictionary that says this item is this item. You can implement it, but as long as you say it is ingot, iron internally, anything the recipe calls for ingot, iron, and not flubbercraft iron ingot, only that one will work.
Yeah.
But if you just say, I need an iron ingot, it will work. It's like a universal interface for it. Well, some of it said, no, we need specifically our copper ingot, or our smelter only works with our ore, not any copper ore. So for a long time, it was the running joke of every mod added copper and a copper ingot, and it would only work with their machines.
They were not interchangeable, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Minecraft went in and added copper.
And then Minecraft added copper, and they're like, okay, nobody adds copper. You can add recipes, you can do stuff. Nobody add their own copper after this point. We'll use the Minecraft one because it'll work. And yeah.
I think that's the kind of mod I would want in any solo game I do. When I stand up my own server, whatever, I want more shit you can dig out of the ground. I'm not real super picky about what you can do with it, but, the children yearn for the mines. I want to go down into a hole in the ground and dig up all kinds of cool stuff. And I want 2 steps of processing to turn it into a refined product. And after that, I'm just going to put it on a shelf. I don't care. I just want to go dig. I want the satisfaction of finding a thing. I want to dig for chunks. I want Ben and Jerry's ice cream in my Minecraft world. I want to go down and find something good and bring it back to the surface and go, hey, I got a thing. Look, it's a praline. I want rubies and sapphires. We have emeralds and diamonds. I want opals and garnets.
Well, rubies and sapphires are the same thing, right?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You can get sapphires in other colors. You can never get a red sapphire though.
Correct.
Because we call them rubies.
Correct. The point is,
and when you know that fact, some of the second season of Steven Universe, you're like,
wait a minute.
Wait.
See, the thing about this is,
aren't gems. Neither is bismuth. Your world is falling apart, Rebecca.
I have opinions on that. It's at least a distinct crystalline structure. But yes, one was. This
is not a Steven Universe podcast. We're not going into this. I regret my decision bringing it up.
Both distinctly created for a purpose, and okay, fine. We won't make it into a Steven Universe podcast.
Well, we could, just not now.
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
You know what else I did in Minecraft, though? Let me tell you what else I did in Minecraft, though. I got frogs. I went and I flew around until I found a swamp that had a frog. And then I went and flew around again until I found a swamp that had 2 frogs. Because no matter how much I searched in the first swamp, I could not find another frog. But then I found a swamp that had 2 frogs. And then I flew home and picked up some slime balls because I forgot to bring them with me. And I flew back to the swamp that had 2 frogs, and you feed slime balls to a frog, and they will lay a block called frog spawn, which you have to just hang out nearby. You cannot pick it up. But then the frog spawn hatches into a bunch of tadpoles, and you take a water bucket and you click on the tadpole, and now you have a bucket of tadpole. Eventually, those tadpoles will grow into full frogs, but there are 3 different varieties of frog, depending on the temperature it's raised in. So when I went and I bred these 2 frogs in this random swamp I found until I had a pile of tadpoles. I had like 15, 16 tadpoles, just buckets of tadpole ready to go. And then I built 3 huts in different climates that were near something that already existed. There's one close to our spawn that's in a cold climate. There's one close to my secret base I'm working on, which is in a hot climate in the Badlands. And then friend and fan of the show, Red Stephanie, has a base in a temperate, not cold, not hot climate. And I built a frog farm over there. And I put the tadpoles, a couple of them in each of them, and I fed them some slime so they'd grow into frogs. And then I have frogs in all 3 colors. Do you know what frogs are good for?
Gigging?
Making lights.
What?
Check this out. Okay. In the Nether, they have monsters that are a lot like the slimes we see on the surface.
The magma slime?
Yeah, magma cubes.
Yeah, magma cubes, yeah.
You hit a giant one, and you kill it, and it breaks into a couple of medium-sized magma cubes. And you hit and kill one of those, and it turns into small magma cubes.
Mm-hmm.
If a frog eats a small magma cube, it will poop out something called a frog light. They give off as much light as a sea lantern, but they come in 3 colors, one for each color of frog available on the surface. Thing is, in order for that to happen, you either have to get a magma cube out of the Nether, which is not easy at all. I don't even know if it's possible. Or you have to take a frog into the Nether.
Yeah.
So you throw some leads on your frogs, and you walk through a Nether portal so that they follow, and then when they hit it, they immediately teleport to the Nether. Then you go into the Nether and pick up the leads and put leashes on your frogs and walk them over to where there are magma cubes and hit them until they're the tiny ones, and then let the frogs eat the tiny ones. So not only did I breed a bunch of frogs in different colors near people's locations in game, I took 2 of each of them into the Nether. And our spawn Nether portal is very close to a fortress, which is one of the places magma cubes spawn pretty regularly. So I built a big-ass platform, and I put down some fence posts and just leashed the frogs to the fence posts in the Nether so that when magma cubes spawn over there, I can hit them with the sword until they're cut up in tiny enough pieces for the frogs to eat. And then the frogs eat them, and I pick up the lights, and I bring them home, and I use them to decorate my base. I don't know why it was so important to me. I do know why it was so important to me. One of the advancements you get in the game, their equivalent of achievements, is to have all 3 colors of frog light in your inventory at one time. And I wanted that achievement. Also, I just like frogs in general. I do. And Minecraft frogs are extra cute. I very much like them. And now I can go visit all my frogs. And I put little lily pads in their enclosures. I need to go get some drip leaf for them to jump on because I know they like drip leaf. and be nice to all the frogs in the game. I like frogs.
Did they do anything other than be frogs and poop out lights?
They jump and make frog noises. I don't think there's really much else that they do. I don't think they drop anything good if you kill them or anything. I should go look that up. I now have 3 separate frog farms. I should go look that up. I may be half-heartedly working on a zoo where I just have every type of animal that I can get on display and available to breed, a bunch of birds and a bunch of frogs, and figure out how to lure over pandas and get some wild llamas. And dogs are easy, you feed them bones. I know where there is one camel in the world. I would like to find a second one because I would really like to breed some camels. I don't know. I like camels. I like Minecraft camels. They're cool and they're rare. Polar bears, build a little polar bear enclosure. I don't know. I think the idea of a Minecraft zoo would be really neat. It's the creation, and it's the hoarder in me is what it is. It's me wanting to collect one, 2 of every animal. Not get on the ark, but
that trip would be interesting to stream. There's something called Island Sanctuary that they added in 14. They added it during the pandemic, and you could tell it was originally something else entirely.
yeah,
And the rumor is it was originally meant to be like an entire standalone game made by one of the other studios they shut down. And
yeah,
they're like, we have 80% of this game done. We don't want to throw it away. Can we salvage this and like redo this in the 14 engine and just add it to this? Because the interface is entirely separate. It's a weird, like, it's completely disparate system that doesn't make any sense, that they just sort of shoehorned, like, okay, they exist and you can go there now. And it's like Animal Crossing Lite, except it's like Timu, we have Animal Crossing at home, sort of. It's LaCroix by Timu Animal Crossing.
yeah.
But one of the things you could do is there's animals on the island, and you make they'll capture not Pokeballs, because otherwise they get sued apparently now. They're like a Ebola or a Sophorik or whatever, but you go up to them and you throw them, and then you capture them, and you can put them in your pen, and you could harvest leavings from them, either claws or fur
Yeah.
or sometimes it's the hard shell ones you get scales or for assorted animal harvest. But there's rare versions of these that spawn during certain times. Like there's white sheep out in the field, but at night there's a chance of a black sheep to spawn. Or when it's raining on a Tuesday after a rainbow, the rare crocodiles spawn on this one cliff, not anywhere near the crocodiles. So people, catching your shinies. But all the rare ones do, it's like all the animals have a primary thing. Like the little burrowing guys, their main drop, you'll get teeth.
Yeah.
And then like you'll get like 5 teeth and a chance at 1 claw. Like there's a primary and then a rare drop they give.
Yeah.
The rare ones, they flip those. They'll give you 5 claws and 1 teeth.
Interesting.
So some people go for the aesthetics and they build their zoo of all the rares or the cool looking ones, or like I have the white and the black sheep, and I named them Ebony and Ivory.
Live together in perfect harmony.
Or like there's the little fluff ball thing, or there's the golden fluff ball, so I kept the golden fluff ball. Like I kept the aesthetic ones, like, okay, cool, my pen is full, I stopped caring.
Yeah.
Or some people min max to like, yeah, I don't care what they look like. I need the optimal balance of all of the things. I need, a big A and a little B, so I need to balance it up with a big B, so I have like both
Yeah.
Like optimizing for harvest, and people every once in a while they'll add they just added three new rare spawn giant golden camels or something, and there's whole online trackers for like the weather pattern. It's gonna be the right sweater day type things of the first sun after a rain, but once after a thunderstorm or something. The right
Yeah.
rare things have to line up.
You think
But
people would be
yeah,
interested in
making zoos
seeing a
would be.
Minecraft zoo?
I'll show you my zoo.
I am intrigued. I am intrigued. I like that.
Next time I'm streaming 14, hit me up and be like, hey, show me your zoo.
Yeah, I will
Pop
do
by.
that.
I go out to my island once a week to set up 2 weeks worth of crafting requests that the little mammoths do for me,
Yeah.
because there's requirements every week. There's special things you can make for bonus tickets or something, and you put in your order. You plan out your 5 days over your next 7 days of work, because they get 2 days off, and you're like, okay, here's your 24 hours of work schedule, but you can see what's required this week, but also what's next week, and you can plan out the next week also. So you really only have to go out there every 2 weeks, because they wanted it to be casual and not have to go back out there and macromanage it every single day. In
Yeah.
case, real life. It was a whole like, you could tell they cranked this out. They rushed it to get it out at the height of the pandemic, when Animal Crossing was just like taking over and cozy and just like,
It's like,
be
we
on
want
an
one of those.
island and
Yeah.
harvest thing. Yeah. And it's like, you are way too late, and this is not very good, and it requires, at the time, I think you had to be level 90, which was the cap, to even go there and start it. And it takes real world hours to do stuff,
Yeah.
because like, I can grind all the gathering I want, but like to actually build, like, I'm gonna build the clock tower. Guess what? It takes 18 hours on Earth. Just, okay, come back in 27 hours. We'll be done then. You can't rush it. There's nothing you could do to make it go faster. And that as you went up the tiers, that got longer. I think it was like 4 hours, then 8, then 12, then 24. And I think the last one you do, the ceremony hall thing, it was like 36 hours or something.
Ooh.
But it was like a big capstone. It was a huge, like,
Yeah, but still.
cathedral building. No, it was like a ginormous. You could only put it on one of the plots. Like, none of the plots were big enough. It has to go here, and it's this massive building. Like, okay, it's a big order. It's going to take us a while. It'll take like 36 hours, and we're like, I'm gonna forget. I'll be back in a week.
Yeah.
It was the whole
Absolutely.
uproar of real life time in video games, and bad flashbacks of like things in 11 that took, okay, you turned it and now you have to wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we were playing, I was doing a raid one night. It was the Near thing, and that song,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Near Automata song and stuff. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can get this song, because a lot of times those background songs from those raids, when you complete the story, like every major section, you eventually they gave you the music for it. And I'm like, I don't have this. Why don't I have this? I should have completed it 5 years ago. It turns out that quest line, you could do one step of it per week. You could do it. It's like, okay, you can't do another one until 4 a.m. reset on Tuesday the next week. So every Monday night, I would remember to do it, and then wait for it to take over, and then immediately do the next one, and then set a timer for the next 2 weeks. And I had 9 more steps. So it took me 9 real world weeks to do another quest that was, hey, the dwarf guy wants to talk to you. Go in the cave. Talk, dialogue. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I have opinions on that too, and some we should discuss off stream, because I have.
it made sense at the time when it was new content. They didn't want people to rush through it. They wanted them to gate it and go slow. And also, I think the steps weren't revealed in the game. Like nobody could go and do it.
Yeah.
Nobody could rush through and get to the end quicker. Like, well, I can only play like once a week for a few hours on Friday, and I may not get to work on, that whole expansion. And other people are like, I have no life. I'm gonna have it done in the next 37 minutes and skip, 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 skip. Okay, I'm done. I have it.
Yeah.
They wanted everybody to like, oh look, it's the new episode of the TV show. Nobody is binging it in one night. That's fine. Set a reminder that when the next expansion comes out and that's no longer the current content, remove those limiters.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're bad about that. That is one. If we ever add things like that, we have to remember to follow up on old things
Mm-hmm.
and make them less horrible when they are older content. To get flying in the game, you have to do a bunch of quests. You have to attune to the air currents. There's usually like 13, 14 of them in the zone. You just walk up and talk to them
Yeah.
and attune to the air currents. But there's also like 7 quests you have to do in each zone. And usually one of them is always one of the main story things. You don't get that quest until you are effectively done with the zone. So you can't fly in the zone until you are done with there. Flying is a reward for when you have to come back later. But you go through it on foot the first time to teach you where things are at. Just go around, experience the zone, not just fly in it. But it's tedious to get 13 or 14 of these things and do 7 quests. New expansion came out. People were going through it like, well, I have to do all that just to get that. No, they backported anything that's not the current one. They truncate it. There's 3 quests. 2 of them are main story, like you will just get them as you go, and they've limited down to 4 real world ether currents to find, and they're not like out of the way. They're like real easy to find ones. So they're like, okay, we can't entirely remove this, but we'll make it way a lot shorter of a trek for when you are catching up and trying to hurry up and get through the game to catch up with your friends. It's like, can't remove it, but at least we're aware to make it less painful.
Yeah.
And they got a bunch of goodwill from that.
I appreciate it too, because I understand the case for time gated content in games. I do.
Yes.
But at a certain point, the gate needs to come down.
What is your opinion on accessing seasonal events out of season that you may have missed?
Now, see, it depends on how the seasons are done. If they're based on real world time, I want to be able to access them in some way or another. Cookie Clicker, of all the games, has a good mechanic for that. If you level up high enough, you can pick your season. You can just set the season. And that, to me, feels like the right way to do it, if it's based on real world time, like actual calendar date. If it's based on in-game time, no, fuck it, make them wait.
We're about to get the Halloween event back.
Yeah.
There's one of the in-world events that I had missed, and I had skipped it because one year it hit at just the right time when I had to go out of town, and I was like, oh, it's a bullshit holiday and I don't care. So it was like the first in-game event I missed. It was Little Ladies Day. It's some Japanese. It's around the pink tree time, but it's like a whole big dresses and little girls and global quinceañera type. It's a thing. It's not just a bullshit. Like it's a whole like big deal.
Yeah.
Cool. But I had skipped it because I was out of town or something, and I'm like, okay, I missed the rewards that year. I'm like, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. The next year, I'm like, oh yeah, I get to do it finally, because they usually bring back some of the rewards from the previous year that you can just buy at a vendor for more money. But it's like, this is the stuff from last year in case you missed it.
Yeah.
Like, cool, I can get that. I happened to be out of town again because it was the same time for the same event. It was like a conference or something. And I'm like, 3 years in a row, I kept missing the same event. And I have this permanent mark in my achievement log that's like the one I did not complete.
Yeah.
And I'm missing one of the emotes thing from that. They sell the emote on the cash shop for $5. That's what they take the old previous content. If you don't do the in-game events there, sometime in the next year after that, usually before the event comes back around, they'll take the stuff from there and they put it in the cash shop for $2, $3, $5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I'm okay with this level of evil. It sucks, but at the same time,
It's not gameplay impacting.
it's cosmetic.
Right.
It's an emote, and most of the people have it.
Yeah.
And the people that didn't get it probably don't know what they're missing.
Right.
And if you really did want it, they're probably the people that are willing to give you money to get it because they have to have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not $20 horse armor. Wait, how much was horse armor? Was like $20-$25, wasn't it?
I don't remember offhand, but it was
It wasn't
disproportionate
small, but
for
it wasn't,
sure. Yeah.
It wasn't like $50. It was a small amount of money, but it wasn't like a tiny amount. But it was something like, but it was like for a couple dollars, a full bite size of a microtransaction.
Yeah.
You could just get it. That's a lot of what's on their cash shop is holiday stuff from previous years.
Man, let me tell you about Minecraft. There's an item. we were talking about the challenge to get items and timing and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd mentioned the zoo. One of the animals that I have that is in my proto zoo right now, I just have breeding grounds where I'm collecting animals as I can, is turtles.
Oh, yeah.
You can breed turtles by feeding them seagrass. To collect seagrass, you need shears because it's the only thing that will clip it without destroying it.
Yeah, like leaves.
When you use seagrass on two turtles and they breed, one of them goes and lays a clutch of eggs.
Okay.
You can only pick up turtle eggs with a Silk Touch enchanted tool.
Makes sense.
If you hit them with anything else, you destroy them. If you step on them, you destroy them. Zombies and other mobs, like villains, are attracted to them by default and will step on them and crush them and destroy them.
Makes sense.
Turtles drop an item called turtle scoots. It's just like a piece of shell. And you can collect turtle scoots to make a tortoise shell helmet, which is an ingredient you can use for brewing a potion of the Turtle Master.
Oh, that's how you pronounce that. Okay.
Turtles drop turtle scoots. After their egg hatches, they come out as baby turtles. When they mature into adult turtles, they drop a turtle scoot. And because it's an item that gets dropped into the world, it exists for 5 real-time minutes, and you can go pick it up during that time. Then it just vanishes.
Again, normal Minecraft mechanics. Okay.
So you have to wait for the egg to hatch so that you know the babies are there. And then you have to wait for the baby to grow up in an area where you won't step on any other turtle eggs, like if you have a small enclosed farm so the zombies don't come step on your turtle eggs. So you're just sitting there picking your nose, waiting for eggs to hatch and baby turtles to grow up so you can carefully navigate over and pick up one, because it drops 1 when a baby matures. And it takes 5 to make a helmet.
Is the helmet really good?
No! It's better to have diamond armor, but the helmet is an ingredient in a potion. Is the potion really good? It's one of those that's got trade-offs. It's the potion of the Turtle Master that gives you some buffs at the expense of giving you hella slowness because turtles.
Let's see. Scoot usage. Oh, turtle shell. Hat.
So let's say, just hypothetically, I'm building an apothecary and I want to have a full chest of all potions available in case anybody needs one. To make 27 of the potion of the Turtle Master, I need to collect. Okay, you make 3 potions at a time. 27 divided by 3 is 9. I need 9 turtle shells to wear as hats. And they take 5 scoots each. 9 times 5 is 45 times. I have to be there and be physically present to watch a baby turtle mature into a full grown turtle so I can pick up the scoot. If I didn't have a compulsive drive to make one of everything or a chest of everything in some cases, it wouldn't be a problem. I would just be like, look, a turtle. Ooh, another turtle. They laid some eggs. Oops, I stepped on it. Oh, too bad. I'll walk away. Nature carries on. The arrow of time marches forward and all of that. No, someone has to be compulsive and make shops to give away free stuff. And of course, they want to make their free stuff out of the most complicated things ever. Someone has decided they're going to make a path out in the nether, and they're going to make it out of items that take 4 pieces to make. I'm going to grow netherwort and mine nether rack to bake into nether bricks so I can turn them into red nether brick blocks to make this tunnel that's 1,000 blocks down, and it's 3 by 3 by 3. So I've decided from now on I'm going to build everything made of dirt because you can just pick it up off the ground. There's no work involved in getting dirt. You click somewhere and you have dirt. It's that easy. There's no polishing your black stone. There's no growing of a crop. There's no taking water bottles to turn dirt into mud to add wheat to make packed mud to convert into packed mud bricks. All the good-looking building materials take so much damn work. And the foundation, the reason I bring up the packed mud bricks is the foundation of every one of my turtle farms is packed mud bricks because I want it to look swampy. And they're tan bricks. They look muddy. It's the perfect foundation for a frog farm. And I built 3 of the damn things.
This reminds me of something in Dungeons and Dragons.
Uh-oh.
There's some weird spells in the game that do very specific thing, and you're like, why would you ever take this as a spell to use? Like, unless you were going like real like RP flavor heavy, like no, these spells are not for you. They have to exist in the mechanics of the game, but they are things that explain how stuff in the world works or exists. You know, you got spells like knock or magic mouth or sigil or the one that creates, it takes like an hour to cast and it creates like a 7-day holy like sacred ground or something. Like, why would you take this and like what purpose? Like, no, this does not exist for you, the player. This exists because there's a mechanic where if you cast the same spell over and over every day for like a year or something, it becomes a permanent effect in that area, just forever. But you cannot miss a day.
Yeah.
But it's like that's how they explain this church or this town is holy ground. Is in there's mechanics to explain why this is. You know, they had to add, you know, or why this eternal flame is always lit is because it's a permanent effect of the conjure fire, conjure heatless flame or whatever stored in a lantern, and it's like, it works underwater and stuff like. But they have to explain it in mechanics, not just like, oh, it exists.
Yeah.
Mechanics. There's a lot of stuff in Minecraft that they eventually added a way to legitimately get it, that they added as a decorative item for a thing. They added the sea temples and they built them out of prismarine and stuff so it looked good. Whether or not you could ever get that, they can make it just not drop. You
Yeah.
break the block and it just goes away. You just not get it. They eventually had like, well, yeah, okay, we'll add in this stuff in the context of the game to get it. Or like that mud bricks and like, well, we can't just like give them packed mud. Like how logically would you, they had to, in the context of the Minecraft world system and engines and items and crafting and stuff, explain how you would get dirt to mud to packed mud to brick, like, because they need packed brick for some dungeon or some villager hut more than likely. And they're like, well, what do you do with it after that? It's like, well, we'll let them make it some other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, post Microsoft, they actually have the people to remember to go back and add those. Before they would add the block, like, there's no legitimate way to get this. It exists because they needed it for a thing and they just didn't craft it. A lot of the like the obsidian meta, the meta obsidians, like crying obsidians,
Yeah.
they existed. There was no way to get them. You could make a block that had that metadata to do it because it was in a thing, but so I get it.
Yeah, I do. I think the thing is, it always happens, okay, and this actually ties back to what I was saying before. It happens when they need a decorative thing for something.
Yeah.
And the decorative stuff is always so damn pretty.
The thing is, they assume the people that care about those for the decorative purposes are not playing survival.
That's
They're
true.
going to go creative and they're going to build decoratively with their palette and not worry about the 6 steps it takes to get the thing.
That's true. And ideally, I would be doing this stuff in a creative world where I could just pick up the bricks and do it. But no, I had to go join the community server that's on survival mode and do it there. But it's still fun, and it shows a level of dedication. And I feel like that is appreciated. I feel like someone out there sees the goofy stuff I build and they say, wow, this idiot sunk way too much time into it. They probably say it a lot kinder, at least I hope. But that's what they say, you know?
The cat machine dispensed food, and I heard the cat jump off the chair immediately on the floor above me, and cartoon
Skitter, yeah.
Yeah, I heard thunk and then scritch to try to take off to get downstairs to his food.
Man, oh man. You know what else? Speaking of decorative bricks and ridiculous projects, I'll let you in on a secret. One of the things that I am building, as part of the many things that I want to make in Minecraft, I am currently in the process of mining out a down to bedrock entire 16 by 16 chunk so that I can build a tower out of it. And I'm trying to decide what I want to make my tower out of.
Do you know have you been down there yet?
Yes.
Do you have flat bedrock on or
No.
Okay.
I'm going to lay a foundation of something, but like,
okay,
I'm debating. It's like I could make it out of nether brick. I do actually have some nether brick banked up. But if I run out of nether brick, it means going and baking more netherite. If I make it out of red nether brick, well, I just expanded my nether wart farm because A, it lets me make red nether brick, and B, you need nether wart to brew potions. And now I have too much nether wart.
Go hollow out a fortress. Don't take the whole thing, but the pillars are solid.
Yeah.
You can take the insides out because I think they're like 6 across.
They're
like
pretty big,
aisles
yeah.
I think the walkways are 4 across and then 2 on the side, so there's 6 across. But that means the intersection of the pillars are 6 by 6, so there's a 4 by 4. You can just hollow out the middle of the columns and nobody will know.
The frustrating thing for me is you can use nether brick to make nether brick stairs and nether brick fences. Like you can do with a lot of other. You can make walls and you can make stairs. You cannot make red nether brick stairs or walls. It's just red nether brick. And that's so frustrating because that changes how I would do the outside of my tower. Because what if I want
so
parapets, you know? Yeah.
Is all that it's literally they missed an entry.
Yeah.
Because it's just a texture on a model. It is a one line in a JSON file that someone said, hey, nether brick extends stairs.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And somebody added red nether brick and didn't think, what are all the things I need to do when I add a new thing?
And so I could do it out of black stone, although I already have a thing made out of black stone. I could do it out of deep slate, but I already have a thing made out of deep slate. And I feel like I should pick something I haven't used yet. But that's not the same block everyone else is using. It's such a dumb thing to even stress over. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Anyway, we're about at time, but before we go, I want to leave you with a very, very important thought because we were talking about D&D and spellcasters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can prevent a spellcaster from casting a spell with somatic components by pinning their arms up against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And you can prevent someone from casting a spell with verbal components by kissing them deeply. The most effective way to render a spellcaster harmless is ferocious, sloppy makeouts.
It also prevents material components because they probably can't get to their hand.
There's a perfect strategy. So obviously the number one opponent against a spellcaster is a bard. Maybe a rogue.
Actually, no. It is a bard now because under the new D&D 24 rules, because they don't want to call it 5.5 or 6th edition because legal things.
Yeah.
They changed the way counter song worked, which was a bard specific counter spell, and they also improved the way counter spell works, and it makes bards basically get a free counter spell that doesn't get used if they fail. You can attempt to counter song something, and if it doesn't work, you don't lose it. It's not like, well, I shot it and I didn't pass the check, so mine's gone. It's like, no, you could just counter song a lot of things over and over now. So bards really are anti-mages now.
Nice. All right, I think
when are we going to play?
I have no idea. I can't even keep a regular schedule for this show every week. What makes you think I could show up to D&D? We'll figure something out.
The 6 weeks you were gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. We'll get something together. I'd be down.
Play it in the Hurl Discord.
The community D&D game.
Exclusive.
I'd be into that.
No, just stream it on Discord so people can watch.
Community exposed D&D game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, I think we are about at time. We're going to wrap it up here. I am going to send everybody over to our dear friend Cass, whom I love very much, who is playing a first playthrough of Undertale. That is an experience. If you're not into Undertale or you haven't played it yet and don't want spoilers, go watch Jiggy. He's doing Metroid Wheel. I'm going to level with you. I'm going to open both of them, but I'm going to send you to Cass because I like Cass a lot. Thank you so much for hanging out here. We appreciate each and every one of you. We will be back next Wednesday doing this at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here Friday, 7-ish, doing music. And maybe I'll be working on the Minecraft Zoo over the weekend. Who knows? It could be. Could happen. Can't rule it out. Don't forget to throw our raid call over there. I got a button for this. I got a button for this. Go over, tell Cass that we are still on the line. We love you all great big bunches. Be safe, be well, and we will see you later.